would you look like if you had 50% use of the power that God has given you in your brain? And if you could use 95 to 99% of your mental capacity, then you would be a reflection of God himself. This is why we as Muslims can wear the names or the attributes of God, because we are born to reflect him. The beneficent, the merciful. Rabb, the Lord, the nourisher, the sustainer, the evolver. We all have that power to bring a thing into existence and nurture it until it reaches perfection. God made us like himself. You got the power of life and the power of death. You can love or you can take vengeance. These are the attributes of God.
Yes, sir.
But we have fallen.
Yes, sir.
And the sad thing about it, God allowed a problem to be created that only he could solve. He allowed death to come over the whole planet. In the book of Revelations, and I beheld a pale horse, and its rider was death, and hell followed closely behind. A horse is the most intelligent of all of the beasts. This is why we don't eat horse meat. Not that that meat is not good if you're a meat eater.
Teach, Minister. Teach.
But horse meat is a good flesh, but we don't eat the horse because he's the closest to the human being. The horse is a thinker, highly intelligent, can be trained to do magnificent things, a horse. But this was a pale horse.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
An intelligent human being, but pale.
Go ahead, Minister.
A pale-skinned human.
Go ahead.
Highly intelligent.
Yes. Yes.
Crafty. Deceitful.
Yes.
But a pale horse. And death was the rider. Well, what is death? The wages of sin is death. So here's a horse that's nature is rebellion to God.
Yes. Teach.
Whatever God say, thou shalt not do.
Go ahead.
The pale horse has an intelligent rationale to make evil fair seeming to man. Look at it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
God says, know that the Lord your God is one God. Don't make any graven image.
No graven image.
None. Don't bow down to them nor serve them. Now you say God is three. That's not the teachings of Jesus.
Go ahead.
Jesus never said, I am part of a triumvirate.
Break it up.
He taught you to worship God,
That's what he said.
his Father. Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Talk back to me if you can.
Come on.
Listen. They said, good master. He said, no. Why call it thou me good? There's none good but the Father. He says in the Bible, he says that God is a spirit, book of John, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth, for such the Father seeketh. I ain't seeking, Jesus talking, nobody to worship me. I'm seeking for you to follow me in my perfect obedience to God.
That's what he said.
Listen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That Jesus said in words, nothing can I do of myself. He wasn't independent then. I can do nothing of myself. But whatever I hear, that shall I speak. And whatever the Father commandeth me to do, somebody is commanding Jesus. Jesus is a soldier under a superior officer, and he's in complete obedience to God. Therefore, Jesus can offer you life, because death came from disobedience. Life will come through your obedience. So he says, I and my Father are one.
That's what he said.
When you see me, you see the
That's
Father.
right. That's right.
For I am in the Father, and the Father is in me.
That's right.
Beautiful, beautiful teaching.
Go ahead. That's right.
Teaching, minister, you teaching.
Now, beloved brothers and sisters, a pale horse, death is his rider. See, his nature is rebellion. That's death. And that's what's driving him. He don't find it easy to obey God. He finds it easy to rebel. And he finds it easy to make rebellion look good. He's very intelligent. But when you follow that pale horse, where death is the rider, then you find hell following close behind. And in the life that we live,
Yes, sir.
when we are in rebellion,
Go ahead, minister. Go ahead. Go ahead, minister.
hell is in our marriage. Hell is in our homes.
Yes.
Hell is in the school.
Yeah.
Hell is in the church, mosque, synagogue. Hell is in the street. We live in hell. We live in hell. But the book says, when he went to the cross, he had to go down and descend into hell before he could ascend. That's powerful. Where are you? We in hell. That's not our home. We once lived a heavenly life in obedience to God.
Teach us. Teach.
Yeah.
But now we've lived a life of rebellion in God's name. We follow the pale horse. Whatever he does, we do. Whatever he eats, we eat. Whatever he says is good and right, we do. Even though we have a Bible or a Quran or a Torah in front of us that says, thou shalt not commit adultery.
That's right.
Thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. Thou shalt not steal. You should honor your mother and your father, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God give you. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. But everything that God said thou shalt not do, he say it's okay. So you can go to church and see a statue of Mary, statue of Joseph. This is Saint so-and-so, the patron saint of lost souls. And you go in and bow, genuflect. Somebody in a factory shaped a statue. They said it's Jesus. And they put it in front of us.
Go ahead.
And we come down the aisle in our church and we genuflect. But thou shalt not bow down to a statue.
That's right.
Nor worship that.
Yes, sir.
You think the statue has power, but smack it and see if it'll smack you back. But touch me and see what happens.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Preach.
In the Holy Quran, Abraham, whom Jesus and Moses recognized as a father of the righteous, Abraham saw his people worshiping these idols. So in the middle of the night, he came out and pulled down, not the biggest one, he left the big one there, but he pulled down one of the chief idols and it broke and he went away in the night. The people came out the next day. They were upset. Who did this?
Go ahead.
Who broke our idol?
Yeah.
Abraham was in the crowd, agitated,
Look out now.
signifying.
Go ahead.
Abraham said, hey, ask the big one. Hey, surely he knows. He'll tell you who did it.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So they got angry because then they knew he had done this thing. And they mad because their idol couldn't show them who did it. Idol couldn't talk. Here you are bowing to something that your own hands can make, rather than bowing to the Creator who created you. This is what God was against. This is weakening you.
Yes, sir.
It's taking your power from you when you falsely worship that which you have power over. Men have worshiped snakes,
That's right.
but other men capture them, defang them, take their poison, and make medicine. Some worship fire. Other men put fire out. Some men worship stone. We worship everything other than God. Now I want to come back to something, and I'll get back to the pale horse in a minute. But look at this. The Quran teaches that the heavens and the earth are created in truth. The Bible says the same thing. He established the heavens and the earth on the basis of truth. So you, who are created from God, are also created on the basis of truth.
That's right.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the brain cell
Yes.
is created by God to think rightly.
Right, sir.
And the only way the brain can think rightly is if the brain is in contact with truth.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Any of you who are carpenters, if you have ever planed a piece of wood against the grain, you destroy the beauty
That's right.
of that wood.
That's right.
Whenever falsehood is ingested into the mind in the place of truth, and you think on the basis of falsehood, when your brain is created to think on the basis of truth, then you're destroying the beauty of your brain and reducing the power of the brain.
Yes, sir.
So Jesus and the Jews were having an argument one day. And the Jews said to Jesus, "We are Abraham's seed." And Jesus said, "Well, if you were Abraham's seed, you would do the works of Abraham."
Listen to him. Listen.
He stopped him cold. Then they said, "But God is our Father." And listen to this claim. He ain't just your Father, Jesus. God is our Father. Jesus' answer was, "If God were your Father, you would love me. For I proceeded forth and came from God. But now you seek to kill me, a man that has told you the truth." He said, "I know you." Ooh, that's a heck of a statement. When somebody can look at you and say, "I know you." And he didn't stop there. He said, "You are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father you shall do." He was a liar from the beginning, and a murderer, and the father of lies, a pale horse, and death was the rider. The Holy Quran says, "I created everything to submit to God, except the rebellious devil." So if the devil is not created to submit, but created to rebel, then the devil is death. And if he's a liar and the father of lies, and he's your teacher, and you have ingested lies about God, lies about yourself, and these lies have destroyed the beauty of your brain and the power of your brain,
Yes, sir.
then the enemy created a problem
Yes.
that only God can solve. They tell us, "You black because you cursed."
That's what they say. Right.
How many of you have heard that? You heard it? You all heard it? Well, hell, now then, if you believe it, now, you made to think rightly, is that truth or is it false? If it's false and you believe it and act on it, you're acting against the power of your brain, and you're destroying the beauty of your being.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you the children of Ham.
Come on, man.
That Ham, have you heard him here in the South? They call a man that is no count that Ham. You know that ham? I don't know why you eat it, you know, but that ham, that no-count ham.
No count.
Ham was one of the sons of Noah. And I ain't going into all of that, but we were before Noah.
That's right.
In fact, we were before Adam.
That's right. That's right.
Now you teach us.
See, Adam was made, according to the Bible. Said, let us make a man. Who is us? Who is the us here?
Good question. Good question.
Why are you black? Are you black because God don't love you? Come on. If God don't love you, why did he make so few whites?
Come on, minister.
And so many people of color? Talk to me.
Come on, minister. Come on, minister.
That's right.
Think about it. Something to think
If you cursed black, yet you live on the best part of the planet,
Yes. Come on.
Preach it, minister.
where civilization started, in Africa, in the rich Nile Valley.
Yes, sir.
You didn't always wear these dyed garments.
Come on, teach me.
You wore beautiful robes,
Rose, I mean.
silk interwoven with gold.
Yeah.
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 See, you dress like this because you don't know your mama's dressing room. The white woman became your fashion model. So you wear something that's a hip hugger now, with your belly button
Go
out.
ahead. Go ahead.
Talk to me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Your backside out. Your crotch out. Your breasts out. A man can't think straight. Not looking at you. Heck no. God made you to attract a man.
Yeah. That's right.
Your form is attractive to a man. Satan said, I know that. Let's pull off her clothes so the man can't think constructive because he's busy thinking destructive.
Preach it, minister.
Go ahead.
And some of the sisters, they like being destructive. I'm gonna make that nigga turn his eye. In fact, I'm gonna put me on some heels that make a lot of noise. And the Bible describes you like that, with your head in the air, just stomping as you walk.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And your backside jumping up and down like basketballs. Hell, ain't no man in his right mind can't.
Go ahead.
See, it's motion that attracts. A fly come and flit by, I gotta. Sister come walking by with her fine self, I got to look. But when you look, you got took.
Sit down now.
We on a conversation about God.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And sister walked by with her fine self, we stopped talking. Hey, hey, did you see that? All us brothers know what we talking about.